following along with Paul McWhorter's PKW lessons, and we're up to lesson number 34 at the moment, and it was to make a weather station to display all the details on a little screen, and also to change the colour of an RGB LED depending on the temperature. So if it was very cold, I think he really wanted it to register -20 to plus 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is quite difficult to find those temperatures at the moment. But anyway, I'm using a Waveshare Pico-ResTouch, which is based on, I don't know whether the guts are the same or whether it's slightly different, a TFT LCD, which is ILI 9488, but it doesn't seem to be the same. And I tried using the standard library and even changing the pin numbers to what they ought to be. I couldn't get it to work. Now, there are some problems with the Waveshare little screen. One of them is, I don't know how much information they give for C, but for using MicroPython or CircuitPython, it is very, very, very sparse, and you have to work everything out for yourself, and even then it doesn't seem to work. So this is it, and on the back there we have that, and it plugs straight into your Pico. Unfortunately, this means that you can't use any pins for anything else. So I've got myself a Pico Decker, where you can plug your Pico in there, and then you can plug 1, 2, 3, 4 things into it, and it makes it an awful lot easier because you can expose all the other pins. And so that's one thing that I've done. Now, another problem with this is, to save space, it also uses the RGB 565 format for colours, so you have to change everything like that. And the whatever it's called, the LCD 3.5-inch library, you can't actually put everything on the screen at once. You have to do it in the top and the bottom, because you get a memory error. And so I know that you can do better than this, because I looked at the code for the ILI 9488 library, but as I couldn't get it to work, it didn't matter. Right. And another problem with this screen is that it's got an not an LCD, it's got an SD card there to hold your images and everything, and I can't find out how to get that to work. So anyway, enough of that. We want to get onto the actual program. Now, we'll have a look at my program. Nothing of import. I'm just setting up a title for it that I will be displaying, and then it says touch screen for new weather data there. Now, all of this in get background is just to use the temperature to get the right colour for the background of the screen. So first of all, I'm working out, I'm changing the HSV format into RGB, and I'm using the temperature to do that. And oh yes, I'm working out if I've got the temperature range from minus 20 degrees C to 60 degrees on the HSV wheel, how to convert the temperature into the H value, which is a hue value. So, and I'm actually using saturation of 0.75 so I can actually see what's going on, because if it was too dark it would be a disaster, wouldn't be able to see anything. And then here, that's just where I'm converting the RGB 888 into RGB 565, because that's what it is expecting. So you have to display the screen in two halves. So first of all, I'm just displaying the title at the top half of the screen and showing it, and then the message at the bottom half of the screen, and then I'm just waiting for a touch, and I'm creating generating random latitude and longitude every time. So this is why it might be a bit slow, because if I generate something, if it's in the middle of the ocean, it goes, ooh, can't find that, so it goes back and tries again. And is the world 2/3 water? Was it 3/4 water? Anyway, that's why it might be a bit slow, but sometimes it works quite quickly. So then I'm just getting the weather for that latitude and longitude, setting up all the data, so it's in a nice format. And then I wanted, instead of just having a country code, I wanted to actually put the country. So I've got a file, and I couldn't open it as a JSON file and then bring it as a dictionary because memory was short. So I'm having to read the file and just find it. And if it doesn't find the country code in my country code file, it will just use the country code instead of the country name, if that makes sense. So I'm just setting up an array of all the lines, and then I'm just putting everything in until I finish. And then the reason for doing it like this is that I wanted to take the longest line that I've got and center it in the screen. So that's what that does. But if, of course, it is some ridiculously long line, like saying location in the United States of America, and it's a name that's called, well, very, very long, it will just truncate it, but it won't crash. And then I'm just displaying the messages, and I'm displaying as many as will fit in the first half. Then I'm showing the first half of the screen. Then I'm adding the rest of the messages and showing the second. And this key error is when something goes wrong, and it's triggered when the country doesn't exist because it's in the middle of the Atlantic. And then I just get I generate another latitude and longitude, and whatever happens, I close the API, the link, whether I get one or I don't get one, because if you go up here, I don't know, right, just move that over a little. First of all, I started when going to look at the weather API, and it was how Paul did it, or still does it. It was weather equals urequest.getOpenWeather blah 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 .json, and then if you do that, you can't close it. And if you keep doing API requests, you'll run out of memory. So that's why instead of going weather equals blah 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 JSON, I've actually got weather equals response JSON, which means that I can do a weather.close. Otherwise, if it did it too much, it would just run out. Now, is there anything else? Right, wind direction is in degrees. So I decided that I wanted to make it in the standard, wherever it might be. Oh yes, north, north, northeast, northeast. And each of these are 22.5 degrees apart. So this is quite nifty, I thought. First of all, I take the number of degrees, and I've just put this in case there's some glitch, in case it was more than 360 degrees. But that weather wind deg modulus 360 means that it has to be less than 360, and generally it's the same number that that was originally there. And then if you divide it by 22.5 and you round it, then that will actually get the index for there. Very, very clever. It means that you don't have to go as you did for, well, as I did, this if that is less than that, else that is less than that, else that is less than that, because I would have had to put all that in just to get the wind direction. So you can only do it if it's standard intervals, like 60, 120, 180. Anyway, enough of that. We'll run this jolly old program and hope that it works. Whoops. Try and get the camera to work. Now that is what happens when you've run something already. I will try it again. We will press stop, and I'll just connect to Wi-Fi just in case. Yep, go back to the program, fingers crossed. Now, that's a better angle. Right, you might not be able to see, at the top it says weather report, and then it says touch screen for new weather data. So you touch the screen and you wait, and there it goes, location Sabtang, the Philippines, local time 28:08 on the 19th of September 2023. Sunrise is then, sunset is then, current weather, the temperature is 29.2, and I couldn't create a custom character. Normally, if you've got you're using LCD device, you can do it, but because this is such a shonky library, I couldn't create one. Then humidity, conditions, clouds, few clouds, wind speed, and wind direction northeast. Now that colour is that colour because the temperature is 84.6. So if I do that again, it's still in the same band, but this time we're at Tarakan, Indonesia. Saranpur, Russia. It's colder, therefore, and it's raining, and that's why the colour of the screen has changed. It depends on the temperature. We're back to Penang. I don't you think you pronounce it like that? And Modiave, I've never heard of that place. It looks like it's in Scotland. And wind direction south-southwest. So there we have it. Everything seems to be working okay. That's my program, and that's my